Hi, my name is Chi Su Xian and I'm the head baker at the Cafe King. In this video, we will be discussing step by step each process in sourdough baking, especially for when you're baking in Malaysia. We update quite regularly about sourdough bread baking and kefir on our channel, so if you don't want to miss out, please like and subscribe to our channel. So the sourdough baking process consists of 7 steps. If you have tried baking before, you'll know that sourdough baking especially is heavily dependent on time and temperature. And being in Malaysia with our hot and humid weather, it can vary very differently from baking in other countries. So we're going to share with you our recipe that we've used countless of times in our own baking and even in the recipe in the bread that we sell. And we hope that by following this recipe, you'll be able to make beautiful bread just like us. This video is an overview of all the steps involved in sourdough baking, and we have made previous videos concerning each step, and we cover each step quite in detail. So if you want to know more about each step, you can just browse our existing catalogue of videos. So the first step in the process is feeding the starter. Now the starter is the most important thing in sourdough bread baking. It's the heart and soul of your bread. So why do we feed the starter? It's to let it wake up and be ready to start the process of fermentation. Now if you don't have your own starter, you can actually purchase some from us. We'll put the link in the description below. Now once your starter is active, you can then move on to the next step, which is the mixing process. And in this step, basically all you have to do is to just mix the ingredients together in a big bowl. And the ingredients are basically just 4. You have the starter, flour, water, and a little bit of salt. And all you have to do is just take these ingredients and mix it together really well so that there's no dry bits in it. Now after you've mixed the dough, what you have to do next is to actually develop the gluten in the dough. And if your bread is not strong enough, it will not rise. Therefore, you have to make it stronger, and we do this through this process called stretching and folding. So in this process, you basically just stretch the dough, stretch it continuously so that you'll be developing the gluten structure of the dough. So after you've finished the stretch and fold process, it is very important to leave it and to not touch your dough for several hours, and this is called the bulk fermentation stage, where you let the dough ferment and let the starter work its magic in the dough. And then once your dough is ready, you will see signs of it being ready, and we'll cover that in our detailed video. Now the next step will be the shaping step, and this step is the one that requires the most skill. You need the most practice to master this stage. Why do we even have to do the shaping step? Well, it's because most of the time you would want to bake not just one loaf, but maybe 2 or 3. So then it's at this step where you would portion out the dough into individual loaves. Depending on what kind of bread you're doing, if you're gonna make like a boule, which is this round bread, or if you're gonna make a batard, or if you're gonna make a croissant, a pretzel, shaping is what gives the bread its final shape. Now once you've shaped the dough, usually we would put it in a proofing basket or a bowl. Then you'd leave it for a bit to rise in the proofing basket, and this is called the proofing stage. This is when you allow the dough to sort of relax in its bowl. Now when your dough is almost ready to be baked, this feeling you get when you know it's almost ready, we'll cover that in the detailed video as well. But when your dough is almost ready to be baked, you would then have to put it in the fridge to firm up. And this is rather important, especially in Malaysia, because our weather is extremely hot and humid, and you don't want your dough to be soft and sticky and too malleable right before you put it in the oven. So just put it in the fridge for about an hour or so to firm up, and that will make the next process much easier. When your bread has been resting in the fridge for long enough, the next process would be to score the bread, and that happens right before you put it in the oven, so make sure you have your oven nice and hot before that happens. Now we have to score the bread because it is very important for you to let there be a proper channel for air to escape from the bread. If you don't score the bread, several things might happen which Well, it might not affect the taste of the bread, but it will definitely affect the look of the bread. When you don't give the bread a proper channel for air to escape, it could burst out in unexpected areas. And the final process in this extensive sourdough baking process is the baking process. Yes, so this step is actually highly dependent on the equipment that you have. Talking about temperatures, we will cover that a lot in detail in the detailed video. So another very important part about the baking process is to make sure that you have enough steam in your oven. Steam is extremely important when you want to get a really nice rise in your loaf. If you don't have steam, the bread cooks too fast. The outside, the crust will harden way too fast, and it could have burst in unexpected areas because, well, the crust has hardened and the air is still trying to escape. But yeah, basically, one of the very important parts, steam. And we will cover how to generate steam in all kinds of ovens in our detailed video as well. Now, if you've succeeded in baking your very own loaf, send us pictures. We'd love to see what you've made, and you can find us at our social media. Links are down in the description below. And see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.